Hey guys, it's a nice Saturday afternoon, and so I thought that I would film this video outside. Lately I've gotten a couple of questions about my jaw and if I've had any issues with my jaw over the last few years that I've had a lot of problems with my health, and the answer is yes. I have had some pretty significant issues with my jaw actually, but I haven't shared a lot about it on here, so I thought that I would just make this whole video about kind of like my journey with my jaw. And my jaw actually has been locked for 3.5 years now, and that means that I have very limited opening in my jaw, and like it's not like intermittent, like sometimes I can open my jaw normally and sometimes I can only open it a little bit. It's like permanent, like it hasn't opened more than like this much in over 3 years. I know that a lot of people with EDS and Lyme disease have pretty bad issues with their jaw, but I've never actually met someone that has had the same issues as I've had. And every time, you know, I would go to the doctor before COVID happened, and they would be like, okay, now open your mouth. I would just go like this, and then they would be like, open wider. Every time I'd have to explain that I couldn't open my jaw any wider, and they're always like, really? I don't know, I guess, you know, it's not a common thing. So anyways, I'll tell you how it all happened and all of the things that we've tried, because we have tried a lot of things to help with my jaw. Before I get into the story, I just wanted to mention that this all started much before I started having to wear a neck brace. Wearing a neck brace is not good for your jaw, and it can tend to aggravate jaw issues a lot. But thankfully in my case, I've kind of been able to figure out some things to help with my jaw when wearing the brace to not like specifically make it too much worse. But yeah, back to the story. When I was in high school, which is like 10 years ago now, I would just kind of get like the common clicking, popping sound in my jaw, and it would get sore, but it was never something that was like a big deal at all, not something that I would ever go to the doctor for. Then I remember when I was in college, I had a couple of incidences where my jaw would like lock up to where I couldn't open it more than, you know, like less than a centimeter. That really freaked me out, and if it's something that you haven't experienced before and that you're not used to, it's definitely can be kind of scary. And that would happen like every couple months, and it would just resolve on its own after like a couple of hours. And so again, I never like went to the doctor about it, never really told anyone about it, or, you know, worried too much, even though it like actually did kind of freak me out. I got sick at the end of 2016, and I think it was around October. I had some like up and down issues that year, but it was October when I got sick and like didn't get better after that. In 2017, in August, I had that same thing happen again where my jaw locked up, but it did not unlock after that. So days went on and I could not open my mouth hardly at all, and it was having trouble eating and stuff like that, and a lot of pain. And so I was talking to my mom. She's like, okay, you need to go see a specialist. And so I was calling around to some different TMJ specialists. I set the appointment for like around 3 weeks in advance, and through that time my jaw did not unlock that whole time. And when I went to the appointment, the doctor was like, wait, so your jaw has been locked like this for 3 weeks and you've waited that long? And he was like, we would have gotten you in as an emergency appointment if we knew how bad that was. I guess I should have pushed harder for an appointment. So if that happens to you, don't wait 3 weeks to get an appointment with a specialist, because it's kind of an emergency in some sense. And so he looked at my jaw, he tried to pry it open, it was completely stuck, and he was like, okay, well, we need to get this fixed. And so you're gonna have to come in tomorrow morning and we'll put you under anesthesia and we'll pop it back in. So I was just like, okay. But he also said, you know, your jaw is dislocated, we need to pop it back in place. I went under anesthesia, he popped it back in. He said it was really stuck, but it came open when you're under, and so he just kind of like recommended eating soft foods for the next few weeks and like gave me a PT referral. Even after that, my jaw never opened. It went straight back out of place. I did PT for a long time. The PT that I saw actually specialized in jaw issues, and he was like, okay, well, I'm not going to treat you anymore until you get surgery because this needs to be fixed. And so we started doing more research on it. When you research jaw surgery, there's not like a whole lot of positive feedback. We were like, well, if I have to have jaw surgery, we want it to be like the best person. I ended up flying from where I was going to school back to where my family was in North Carolina to see some really good specialists. And I was offered surgery, but we saw this one specialist that really decided maybe we could like fix this conservatively, and that jaw surgery like really wasn't a good idea. It would be a last resort. And so I started seeing another jaw PT specialist, and she couldn't get anywhere with my jaw opening. I also got some different types of injections at that point. Probably saw like 3 or 4 jaw specialists, and they all like kind of had like different ideas. But all while this is like going on, I was having a lot of other health related struggles, and eventually those became so severe that my jaw issues kind of like were put on the back burner. I continued to try like a few different physical therapists, and they all basically fired me and said, you need surgery, like this is not budging. Eventually, like a year and a half later, I decided to have a procedure called Arthrocentesis, like a very, very minor jaw surgery where they go in and like flush out the jaw joint, and like he also manipulated my jaw back into place while I was under anesthesia for that. The same thing happened right after I woke up from surgery. It went right back out of place again. After that point, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Chiari malformation, craniocervical instability, and tethered cord, and so we kind of decided it was more important to address some of those other things before getting to my jaw. I had to have craniocervical fusion and Chiari decompression surgery in 2019, and after that surgery, my jaw opening was even worse. Was struggling to get even like the smallest like pieces of food into my mouth for months. After that, I couldn't even like brush the back of my teeth. One of our family members made me this special like toothbrush where he shaved down the plastic of the back of the toothbrush and like cut the bristles back to where they were just like a couple of millimeters so that I could like brush the back of my teeth. So I had to use that for several months. So my neurosurgeon referred me to this jaw specialist in Virginia who specializes in like connective tissue disorders and jaw problems. And so I went to that doctor, and he said, you know, that he was happy that I didn't really have any major surgery done on my jaw, that, you know, long-term jaw surgeries have almost like a 0% success rate for the particular issue that I have and with connective tissue disorders. We were glad that I decided not to do surgery. He decided to make some special splints for me to wear, one during the daytime on my bottom teeth and one at nighttime that I keep in this case. So the daytime one is like a clear one that goes in the bottom teeth, and then the one you wear at night is goes on the top teeth, and it kind of was meant to just help my jaw stay in a better position. In order to have those made, you have to have molds done of your teeth, and because I had such little opening, that was very tricky for them to do. They gave me like shots in my jaw, they gave me pain medication, they were like basically for hours trying to pry my jaw open enough just so they could like put the little like mold thing in there. And all the hygienists at that office still remember me from that, because they had never had a patient like that before. They ended up kind of doing like a makeshift where it wasn't like their normal mold that they used for people. It was like something that they like had to like make specifically for me, because there wasn't any other way for them to get it done because of my limited opening. And that was probably about 1.5 years ago now that I saw that specialist, and he actually was really helpful, probably more so than any of the other specialists that I had been to. He gave me Prolotherapy, and that actually significantly helped with the pain associated with my jaw. And over time with the jaw splint treatments we've been doing, my jaw opening has increased a little bit, enough to where like it's a little bit easier to eat and whatnot, but my opening is still very limited and my jaw is still completely like locked. But thankfully now I can open a little over 1 centimeter. That's the most I can do, so that is definitely improved from what it was before, but still very limited in comparison to a normal jaw opening. Splints that I've used have definitely helped with like my jaw pain and symptoms, as well as the Prolotherapy shots. It's still something that affects me every day. Unfortunately, over the past 3 years, I wasn't really able to put as much focus on it as I needed to, because I had kind of more severe issues going on. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy journey. For some reason, one of my least favorite things to do with like medical appointments or whatever is when somebody is trying to pry my jaw open and try to get it open, which has never been successful, but so many people have tried on me. That's like one of my very, very least favorite things. For some reason I feel like they're just gonna completely like break my jaw bones when they do it, because they're pushing so hard and it's so stuck. It's just kind of a scary feeling. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to tell that story because I was curious if anybody else has had a similar situation. Never met someone that has had it like permanently locked up in the wrong position for years, like I have. I'm thankful that we've had some good specialists to be able to help, and to be honest, I don't know if my jaw will ever unlock and open up again. Like, we don't know. I actually, at my last appointment a couple months ago, I asked him if he had ever had a patient that had their jaw locked for as long as I have ever had it open back up, and he said, you know what? No, I haven't. Like, I've never had a patient with your exact same situation. The moral of this story is, if your jaw locks up, do not wait 3 weeks to see a specialist, because honestly, I think that if I hadn't waited that long, there's probably a good chance that I would not be having this problem 3.5 years later. But, you know, it's okay. It's something that I have gotten used to, and in many ways, it's really not that big of a deal in comparison to, you know, some of the other health issues that I have been through. So I would much rather get rid of some of my other symptoms than this one. So there's my jaw story. If you'd like to see more videos from me, make sure you click subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye!